The clock changed, and almost nobody noticed it. Not the fans screaming at the referee, not the players looking at the board, not even most commentators talking over the final minutes of games. But something shifted, quietly. A small adjustment, a technical update, a rule change that looked boring enough to ignore. And now people are asking a question that sounds ridiculous until you actually look at it. Did FIFA just change football by taking control of time itself? Because this started as a fix. That's what everyone was told. Football had a problem. Everybody knew it. Players wasting time, goalkeepers taking forever on goal kicks, throw-ins becoming 30-second events, injuries turning into tactical pauses, matches constantly stopping and starting. Fans complained, coaches complained, pundits complained. Everybody wanted more football and less standing around. So FIFA came in with an answer. And at first, it looked brilliant. Back in Qatar in 2022, fans suddenly started seeing something strange. 9 minutes added, 11 minutes added, 13 minutes added, games stretching beyond the 100-minute mark. At first, people thought referees had gone crazy, but FIFA had changed the philosophy. Instead of estimating lost time, officials were instructed to count almost everything. Goal celebrations, substitutions, injuries, delays, time wasting, everything. The message was simple. You waste time, you give it back. Sounds fair. Actually, it sounded more than fair. It sounded like common sense. And the early reaction was surprisingly positive. Games felt more alive. Teams suddenly couldn't just kill matches by rolling around on the floor for 10 minutes. Goalkeepers couldn't disappear into another dimension every time they caught the ball. Players started feeling pressure. Fans saw more action. Ball and play time increased. The game flowed better. For once, FIFA looked like it had actually solved something. And that's where things get uncomfortable. Because the problem wasn't what FIFA added. The problem was what happened next. See, Qatar was one version of the experiment, but now FIFA moved towards something else. Something more controlled. Something more precise. Instead of huge piles of stoppage time at the end, the idea shifted toward managing interruptions before they accumulate. Shot clock style systems for goalkeepers. Stricter management of throw-ins. Mandatory off-pitch treatment windows for injuries. Less dead time, less waste, less build-up, less added time later. Again, sounds reasonable. Actually sounds better. Why play 11 extra minutes if you can prevent losing 11 minutes in the first place? That's the argument. And honestly, it's not a terrible argument because nobody turns on a football match hoping to watch players tie their shoes for 90 seconds. Nobody buys tickets hoping for fake injuries and tactical delays. Efficiency sounds good. Efficiency usually does. But here's the part people started noticing. When you clean up all the mess, you also clean up the chaos. And football lives on chaos because the dying minutes of a match are not garbage time. They're not leftovers. They're not extra. They're the place where football becomes something else. Think about how many moments live there. 93rd minute winners, 96th minute heartbreak, last attacks, final corners, goalkeepers running into the box, panic, desperation, history. Those minutes aren't dead space. They're where legends appear. And suddenly people started asking something strange. What if football wasn't gaining time at all? What if it was losing the wrong time? Because look closely at those final minutes. They don't feel the same. Not to everyone. The clock reaches 90 and suddenly people look up expecting something massive. 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, and then done. Finished. Over. And maybe that's completely fair. Maybe the calculations are perfect, maybe every second is accounted for, maybe. But then one example started spreading, one calculation, one game, and one fan who apparently got curious enough to do something most people would never bother doing. He sat there and counted every delay, every stoppage, every interruption, second by second. Mexico against South Africa. Nothing official, no media investigation, no giant expose, just one viewer with a stopwatch. And when he finished, he reached a number. 13 minutes. 13 minutes of lost time. But according to FIFA's awarded stoppage time, 7. 6 minutes gone. Vanished. Now immediately there's a counter argument here. And it's important, because manual calculations aren't perfect. Referees are not robots. Not every stoppage gets counted equally. Context matters. Judgment matters. Fans can make mistakes. Absolutely. But that wasn't really the problem. The problem was the question that appeared afterward. Where did those 6 minutes minutes go, because football fans can accept bad decisions. They've accepted them forever. Wrong penalties, missed offsides, terrible red cards. Football almost runs on controversy, but time feels different. Time feels objective. Time feels neutral. The clock is supposed to be the one thing nobody controls, until suddenly somebody does. And now things started getting bigger, because critics weren't asking whether one match lost 6 minutes. They were asking whether the entire philosophy had changed. Because think about what happened here. FIFA originally sold fans a world where every lost second comes back. Every second. That was the promise. Total accuracy. Maximum fairness. But now accuracy started becoming something else. Now it became management, control, efficiency. And those words sound harmless until you realize what they mean. Because if you decide where time begins and ends, you decide where opportunities begin and end too. One less attack, one less counter, one less corner, one less miracle, one less disaster. And suddenly the most dramatic part of football becomes something that can shrink. Quietly, gradually, officially. Then people started noticing another contradiction, because FIFA's entire argument revolves around increasing active football, more ball movement, more gameplay, more action. And statistically, they have numbers supporting it. Ball and play time improved. Games became cleaner. The system appeared to work. But here's the weird part. Football has never been purely about efficiency. If it was, penalty shootouts would start immediately after 90 minutes. No extra time, no suspense, no suffering, no chaos, no possibility. Football isn't loved because it's efficient. It's loved because it feels alive. Because nobody knows when something impossible is about to happen. And impossible things happen late. Really late. The 94th minute, the 96th minute, the 98th minute. Those moments feel different because everyone believes the clock is closing in. And now people are asking whether the clock itself has become another variable. Not fixed, not neutral, variable. That's a dangerous thought, because once fans stop trusting time, something bigger starts breaking. Trust in football has already taken hits. VAR debates, refereeing controversies, governance scandals, questions around decisions happening behind closed doors. People already feel suspicious. People already wonder who's making decisions and why. And now the argument isn't about a referee missing a tackle. It's about whether football's final moments are being